It's rumor season right now. Are the Celtics moving up? Are the Celtics trying to get John Collins? What's going to happen with Jaylen Brown? Who wants Grant Williams? I'm going to round it all up right now for you on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every Monday through Friday with a free, fresh podcast dropped directly to your device if you're a subscriber. So open up your favorite podcasting app, subscribe, get the show as soon as it drops. Do the same thing on YouTube, ring the bell, get notified when a video is up, hop into the comment section, join the conversation. I love seeing all of the threads popping up. Have that conversation. Enjoy yourselves in there. It's a great place to join other Celtics fans. I'm John Karalis. I used to play once upon a time, and now I cover the Boston Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Today's show is all about the rumors. Lots of rumors. I mean, this is heading up to the draft, and then first week of July, and that stretch right before the trade deadline. Three distinct, very defined rumor mills. So there are a few out there. I know we're doing the individual player podcasts from this past season. We're definitely going to continue to do that. I think Derek White is up next, so that's going to be sprinkled in. But the draft is Thursday. Tons of rumors. I want to make sure that you're caught up, and I'll give my opinion on all of these rumors as we head into the draft. So plenty of time in the offseason to get through all of the player and deep dives and all of that stuff. So later on, Grant Williams tied to the Mavericks. Jaylen Brown, what are the Celtics doing with Jaylen? The C's talking to Atlanta. But let's start with today's show being brought to you by FanDuel. This episode brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Let's start with the first rumor. Are the Celtics looking to move up? Kevin O'Connor says the Celtics have explored trades involving the 35th overall pick and Peyton Pritchard to move up into the first round. Have explored trades. What have the Celtics explored? What does explored mean? It's have the Celtics been calling around to teams in the first round and said, hey, how about Peyton Pritchard and the first, in our pick and for your first round pick? I'm sure the Celtics have discussed that possibility with teams that are out there, because that's what you're supposed to do, right? All of these rumors stem from GMs, presidents of basketball operations, those types of guys doing their jobs, right? So I could probably report on these types of rumors every day, all day, throughout the course of the season. The Celtics very likely have called every team in the league and explored the possibility of some sort of deal for one of their players, right? Just like I would call a car dealership exploring the possibility of them giving me their top-end car for $20,000, right? Like, the answer would be no, but hey, I made the call. I explored the possibility. Brad Stevens, you name the team, I'm willing to bet that front office has had a conversation with Brad Stevens. because that's what you're supposed to do. So have the Celtics explored moving up? Yeah. And when you're looking to potentially move up, if you're looking to see, hey, what can Peyton and 35 get us? Let's just throw it out there. Let's just see, where can that get us? Because does that mean the Celtics are right now looking to get to a specific spot? I don't know, maybe, but they might have their eyes on certain players, having worked out whomever throughout that probably, I would say, starting in the low 20s, like that 20, 21, 22 area, all the way down through 40, right? You got probably a 20 pick slot there where you're bringing in a bunch of guys, and all of these guys are similarly talented. So I feel like when there's so many similarly talented guys, it probably comes down to the interviews and probably just personal preference. Brad Stevens, Austin Ainge, those guys, they prefer certain types of players. And if those guys are available, those guys are top on their list. If said player was available at 24, just throwing a number out there, and it seemed like someone in that bottom 5 might take him, one of these exploratory phone calls could have been to say, hey, if at 24 this guy is available, would you take Pritchard and a first if we wanted to jump up and get him? Take Pritchard and the 35th pick to jump up and get him. And there might be on the other end of the phone call, say, yeah, if that's available, depending on how the draft goes, depending on how where our guy might end up, or our top 2 or 3 choices, we might be interested in that. So are the Celtics specifically today, as you're listening to this in the car or in the shower or whatever, or watching this show, are they exploring moving 35 and Pritchard to move up? Maybe not today, but on draft night, that might be a possibility, because that's how Brad Stevens does his job. And Pritchard is looking for an opportunity, and if the Celtics really, really love a guy and he's available and the Celtics want to jump up and get him, this is probably one of the last chances to do that. I feel like I'm very curious to see how the new CBA handles, the end of the first round and the second round. Jumping up, maybe jumping up into the second round or into the first round like this would be easier in the new CBA. But regardless, if the Celtics wanted a guy specifically and they thought he'd be gone by 35 and they're just desperate to get this guy, maybe they will move up. And maybe they don't care about the guaranteed contract because they're willing to give this guy a guaranteed contract anyway as a second round pick. Let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Where do the Celtics fall into conversations with the Atlanta Hawks? There are rumors that the Celtics have been talking to Atlanta or the Suns, and I will do all of that next. First, today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. I've talked a lot about therapy, and I think BetterHelp can be a very good way for you to take a very important first step into therapy. It's very, very difficult to take that first step. It's tough to work your way into that decision to say, okay, I am going to search out therapy. And you just wonder, like, who do I go to? Am I going to find somebody near me and drive to that person and go to 10 appointments and then realize, this person isn't for me? That makes the entire process daunting. BetterHelp makes it easy. You fill out a short questionnaire. They match you with a licensed therapist, It's all done online, so it's convenient from your own home on your schedule. You can work it out. And if it doesn't work out with that therapist, you can switch at any time for no additional charge. So that takes away a lot of the excuses, right? A lot of the reasons why you said, oh, no. This can help you for whichever, a lot of people have some long-standing things that they feel like they need to get over a hurdle to get to that next step. Some people just want to get through the day-to-day grind and want to talk some things through. It's all there at BetterHelp. You can find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Today's show, I should say, thank you for watching today's show. Thank you for listening and making it your first listen every day. The live draft show is on Thursday night. So make sure you check out pick-by-pick analysis from our stable of local NBA hosts, national reaction from our NBA big board hosts, and live check-ins from inside the NBA draft. Locked On NBA Draft Live starting at 7:30 Eastern on draft night on the Locked On NBA YouTube page. I do not anticipate being part of that, but if the Celtics trade into the first round, boom, all of a sudden, I've got a hit to do on that show, but we'll see about that. Moving on to more of these rumors, the Celtics have been linked to the Atlanta Hawks. They continue to be linked to the Atlanta Hawks, rumored to be talking to Atlanta about John Collins again. Matt Moore from the Action Network, host of Locked On Nuggets, tweeted this out. It's likely not going to happen. They talk to Atlanta all the time. I don't think they're going to be able to get John Collins. I don't think the Celtics have what the Hawks are looking for. It could be interesting if they decide maybe Malcolm Brogdon is the answer to what they're looking for. But I doubt it, because that backcourt of DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, I don't know how you fit Brogdon in there, because it's not going to work. You can't move Trae Young off the ball. It just doesn't fit. So I don't think there's any kind of trade to be done with the Atlanta Hawks. I just don't see a fit. The Suns stuff is old. They've been talking to the Suns about Brogdon, but that all fell apart. The Celtics have no interest in DeAndre Ayton. That Brian Robb tweeted that out. The Celtics have no interest in DeAndre Ayton. He at his price for what he does, it's too much money. They're not gonna bring in Ayton at that kind of money to do what he does. They might as well just stick with Rob. I don't see that. I don't see anything happening with Phoenix now. I don't see anything happening with Atlanta. I think they are the Celtics trade kind of the trade interest continues to be moving a guard to get some front court help. And if they can keep Pritchard, I think they wouldn't mind keeping Pritchard. Joe Mazzulla is always very complimentary of Peyton Pritchard. Brad Stevens is very complimentary of Peyton Pritchard. I don't think there is any strong desire other than to accommodate his request to go somewhere where there's playing time. If Brogdon gets moved, very simple. You start Smart, and maybe you stick with Smart and White in the starting lineup, or you start White if you're going to start Robert Williams and Al Horford. You continue to do that. Then Smart comes off the bench, or Smart starts and White comes off the bench, and Pritchard just fills a third point guard role and gets himself, 15 to 20 minutes a game, depending on minutes played. But I think from the starters, I think that's a very feasible kind of scenario for Pritchard. So I just don't think the Celtics are in a hurry to move Peyton Pritchard. Like I started off the show by saying, I don't think they're going to do anything with him unless they know what's going on with Malcolm Brogdon. But that might just depend on how the draft goes. I still don't feel like the Celtics are going to move up. I think they're going to stay at 35. I think Brogdon is a strong candidate to be moved. He doesn't necessarily have to be, but he's still a very strong candidate. The only thing with Brogdon is that a summer with Joe Mazzulla and that coaching staff kind of putting together a plan for Brogdon, I think that could really help him out. Just like I was saying yesterday, could help Rob. Brogdon came in and they traded for him while Ime was the head coach, and I'm sure there was a plan, and then things changed, and so maybe there was some element of what they were hoping from Brogdon, and it just didn't work out the way they thought because of the coaching change. So keeping Brogdon is not that's still a very good option. Keeping Malcolm Brogdon is still a very good option. He was the sixth man of the year, and as I've said, he had probably what I would consider an 85% good season, which is a really good season. And 15% of it was he never got a training camp with Rob, and he's playing for a new coach, and they never really got on the same page. I would say as far as the long-term plan, he just never quite fit with Jaylen and Jayson and all of that. So anyway, sticking with Brogdon is not out of the question. Financially, it makes sense to move on from him and try to get some front court help. And you say, they've got the guards. You want to add some depth to the front court. That's fine. And Brogdon could be your way to do it. But they're not going to blow it up. They're not going to move Brogdon just to move Brogdon. And they're not going to do it for somebody who's ill-fitting. So for now, the rumors just continue to swirl. But I think the Brogdon stuff might be dying down a little bit. And as I say that, a thought pops into my head that the quieter things get with Brad Stevens, the more likely they are to get done, because the Celtics are pretty good at not really pushing any of that stuff out there into the rumor mill. They're very good. They're very good about the leaks. I think even the calculated ones, I don't even know if Brad Stevens plays the calculated leak game. He definitely doesn't do it quite like Danny Ainge did. So, but for now, that's where we are. I wouldn't expect anything from Phoenix involving Brogdon. I wouldn't expect anything from Atlanta involving Brogdon. That's just where we are with him. Jaylen Brown. This is also the season of opposite Jaylen Brown rumors. Everything that's come out, the Celtics have been very, very careful. If there is a leak coming from Brad Stevens, it's we are not going to trade Jaylen Brown. If Jaylen Brown types in Jaylen Brown rumors, he's going to get back a ton of, we are not trading Jaylen Brown. We are trying to sign Jaylen Brown. The Celtics, a source says, are intent on signing Jaylen Brown. Adam Himmelsbach in the Globe reports the Celtics do not intend to trade Jaylen Brown. All signs continue to point toward Brown signing the 5-year, $295 million Supermax extension. It's as simple as it gets. The Celtics are not doing anything involving Jaylen Brown. They are not moving him. They are signing him. They are going to offer the Supermax extension. He is going to sign it. Jaylen Brown said, water your plants. This is the Celtics watering their plants. Homegrown talent. That's what that whole thing was. When Jaylen said, water your plants, he meant pay your homegrown stars. You grow your talent at home, you water the plants, you pay them, and they grow. That's what this is. That's what Jaylen wanted. This is what he's going to get. Long-term supermax deal from Boston. He's not going anywhere at all. So whatever it is, Damian Lillard rumors, nope. Whatever rumors, nope. He is staying in Boston. He will be a Boston Celtic next season. Will Grant Williams be a Boston Celtic next season? There is interest around the league, but what is Boston going to do? We'll talk about that next. First, today's show brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. And hey, baseball season now is in full swing. No better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, you new customers get a no-sweat first bet of up to $1,000. That's up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to join today. I've been talking to a few people that love betting the over on Red Sox games. And I think they've actually been pretty successful. You want to check that one out. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but I know somebody who does and seems to like doing it. So this is, with the NBA done, you can bet on the WNBA. There's all kinds of things you can bet on. So check out that app. It's super safe, secure. Don't miss your chance to snag a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel is an official partner of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks are used with permission. Hey, if you are going to bet, I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, go for it. It's your life, but please gamble responsibly. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Head on over to the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. That is going to get you all caught up on everything draft. You want to deep dive into the draft, the NBA Big Board podcast. That's the place to go for everything. Rafael Barlow, great dude, great at draft analysis. That's a must-listen podcast. All right, the final rumor, we're going to wrap it up with Grant Williams. There have been a number of teams linked to Grant Williams. There's talk about sign-and trades, and it would probably have to be a sign-and trade for the Dallas Mavericks because Hoops Hype is reporting that Grant Williams is going to get interest from the Mavericks. And according to Michael Scotto, he says it's worth noting that Grant and Luka Doncic both represented by the same agent. And so he's someone that they're interested in. Harrison Barnes is somebody that they're interested in. So the Celtics have a decision to make. We've talked about Grant Williams a few times this week already when it comes to trade rumors. The decision with Grant is simple. I think that it makes the most sense to sign Grant. And maybe you sign Grant at a number that's actually a tick higher than what you might normally think he should be signed for. This goes back to, if you're a regular listener, the CBA conversations with me and with Keith Smith, because looking to the future, Grant's a guy, look at all the interest that he's generating, right? Unless Grant signs an offer sheet that throws some of this off and the Celtics can't match it, or it's a number they'll match, but it's not exactly the number they wanted to give, the Celtics might want to explore numbers where it's in the realm of the full mid-level exception 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You want to get into that range. Maybe you go with him next year. Maybe the year after is when you start to explore a trade. So you go through the summer with him. Maybe next summer, somewhere in a, let's say, 4-year deal, 2 years into it, he's going to have to be, he might be traded. I shouldn't say have to be, but if the Celtics have to make moves, if you get to that second apron, that super tax line, you want to have Grant making enough money where a trade out can bring in a decent player or a couple of decent players that lead up to that salary. You can't bring back 125%. You got to basically match that salary. So if the final number that he would agree on is $15 million per year, maybe you go up to 17, and that can get you one of the mid-level guys from, 2 years from now. Somewhere in that range. Play with the numbers a little bit. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know exactly what the numbers are going to be, but I can see Grant coming back to Boston on a deal that when you look at it, you say, wow, that's a little bit more. That's a little bit more than I expected. And if that's your reaction, then it's because the Celtics, they didn't lose their mind. It's because the Celtics said, okay, we need a guy on this roster. If we're going to tie up Grant Williams for 4 years, well, 2 years from now, 2 seasons from now, Jaylen Brown's extension kicks in. 3 seasons from now, Jayson Tatum's extension will kick in. Somewhere in that range, Grant might need to go in order to make some of the money work. And so if that's the case, you want to make sure that he has a good tradable number where maybe you bring back one player that's long-term, one player that's expiring, and you just save money that way. However you do it, there's a way to do it that can make it work financially. So I don't think that Grant Williams is going to go to Dallas. I don't think it's going to be a massive sign and trade unless Grant comes back and says, hey, they're going to pay me, you don't want to pay me $20-something million. Let's work out a sign and trade. If that's the case, then great. But then I haven't even looked at Dallas's financial situation. I don't even know if they're capable of doing that with the hard cap. So I think Dallas is just hoping. He's a restricted free agent, and so there's some conversation there. I mean, if Luka and Grant share the same agent, then that could just be that agent saying, "Oh yeah, this is there's a connection there where he knows, right?" And so I think that's just more Grant Williams agent posturing type of rumor. The Celtics, according to Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe, barring a surprisingly massive deal, the Celtics will match any offer from that Williams signs, any offer sheet that he signs. So the expectation is that Grant is going to stay unless there's extenuating circumstance. I think ultimately that's a fine outcome. That's an absolutely fine outcome. I think that's something that the Celtics, his relationship with Joe Mazzulla, I don't know what it is, but as long as that's good and Grant can get to a spot where he's contributing, then he's still a 40% 3-point shooter who can defend multiple positions, is strong enough to defend Joel Embiid, and who can switch. He's still that player. He's still good. Once he recovers from his surgery, he'll get back out there and he'll start to improve on his game. And I like Grant Williams. I like Grant Williams as a role player. I think he's a good role player. I think the Celtics would be smart to keep him for next season. I think, unless a Brogdon deal brings in an obvious replacement for him, then I think Grant should stay. But we'll see. It's all very fluid. Those are the rumors. That's what I've got right now. Tomorrow's the draft. I don't know how much of a draft. Honestly, I don't know how much of a draft preview I'm going to do. It's the 35th pick. I can talk about trying to find a diamond in the rough and all of that stuff, but I've talked about that on the podcast before. We'll see. Unless the Celtics are rumored to really make a big splash, I think it's pretty low key. It's just kind of I don't know. ignoring the draft this year because I don't expect anything to come out of that 35th pick. But we'll continue our offseason. We'll continue our march through the roster and individual conversations about Derek White. We'll get more into Malcolm Brogdon. We'll get more into some of these bench guys and move forward with it's going to be an interesting summer for the Celtics. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. I'm still going Monday through Friday through June, through July. So I will be here. Stick around. Monday through Friday, this podcast and a bonus podcast if I need to. So subscribe, watch the show on YouTube, and I would love it if you shared the podcast, told your friends, told your family, told everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.